Hello, my name's Chris. Welcome to Code Foundry. This is the first episode in a series that's geared towards people who've never really done any coding before, never really delved into their PCs, what's behind the scenes, that kind of thing. Maybe they don't know about files, folders, directories, commands, that sort of thing. This is obviously a Windows 10 version. I'll do a Ubuntu one as well. Check out the link if you're on Ubuntu, not Windows. So yeah, the basics really. We need to get into how you're editing files, moving them around, creating folders. Maybe you don't even know what files and folders are. We'll get to that in a minute. So before you can code, you need to be able to do that. That's where your code gets stored, basically, in files. Let's have a look at the File Explorer. That's what this is here. This little icon's the File Explorer. If we open that, that opens a window with various little folders. Now, a folder is a place where you store files. A file could be anything. As you can see here, there's little hints there. Music files. You could have photos in here. There'd be files as well. Documents. You may have some spreadsheets or whatever. Videos, if you capture stuff like this actual video is being stored as a file on disk right now, and folders are just a nice way of organizing them. You can have a huge hierarchy of folders on your machine. They get stored on the disk, which is what this is here, Windows. Now, you may have done this before in the File Explorer. You may just click around, you go in here, videos, you may download something from your camera. You can even create files in here. So let's do that. Let's create a file using File Explorer. What I want to do first is change to what's called your home directory. In my case, it's C users Chris. So all the different users on a Windows machine get placed in the users. As you can see, let's make that a bit bigger. So, you may have done this before in the File Explorer. It's basically you right-click, you select New, and then you get a list of options or what type of file or maybe even a folder you want to create. So let's create a new folder. Let's call it coding. And there you go, as simple as that. There's a new folder there. Let's navigate into it. It's currently empty. Again, let's do create a new file this time, and let's just create a text document, which is basically this is just a file in this folder that we've created, which is its size is currently 0. As you can see, if you just do file properties, there are 0 bytes in this file. And it's a text document. Now Windows knows that if I double click on this, it will open a text editor. When you're coding, you spend a lot of your time in an editor. Now, I wouldn't recommend using Notepad for this, but in this example, we can. It's good enough. So let's type some stuff in here and save it. So as I showed you earlier, that the file's 0 bytes, but if we save this now. This size is going to change now. The minimum on Windows generally it shows you is in kilobytes, but if we do properties on this again, you'll see that its size has changed to 12 bytes, which is if you count them, it's going to be those characters that we put in that file. And it's as simple as that. Like I say, once you get onto coding, you're not going to be using Notepad. So there you go. There's your first file now. Obviously, you can get rid of this file just by deleting it. Same with folders. Let's go back into Chris and delete this folder here. There it goes. We're back to how we started. A completely different way of doing this in Windows is via the command prompt. Now, the command prompt is generally a kind of more versatile way of navigating through your system and your files and folders. As you can see here, we're in this. When you open the command prompt, the default, unless you've changed it, is the same as what we got open here, which is C users Chris, my home folder. Now, command prompt as its name suggests, allow you to input commands to the machine to tell it what you'd like to do. But if you've never used one before, how do you know? How do you navigate? How do you know which commands you're going to give it? Well, why don't you ask for some help? Not particularly helpful because there's so many different commands in that list that well, you don't see the top ones because the window's not big enough. So an easy fix for that is one of the commands, which is more. Now this special symbol we call a pipe, and what you're saying here is run help, but basically pipe it to another command, which is more. What more is when you use more, as you can see, it shows you the first page and then waits for input before giving you more of the output of the help command. So yeah, there you go. There's some commands. So that's quite useful. And if you'd actually know the command you want to ask for help on, you can actually type help and then the command. So for example, help, it gives you help and help. Now, the first command that I'll show you here is one called dir. Now, if let's type help dir, as you can see, it displays a list of files and subdirectories in a directory. And a little helpfully here, you don't have to pipe it through more, as you can see. I guess that's an idiosyncrasy of Windows. I don't know. Anyway, so there you go, dir. There's lots of different options, but if let's just try to type dir in this folder and see what happens. Okay, so there you go, and there's a list of files and folders that, as you can see, they're all actually directories. This is what this is here, and it exactly matches what we've got in this window here. So yeah, there's just another view. This is the command prompt view on what you can already see in the File Explorer. So let's try and do something similar to what we did in the File Explorer. Let's create another folder. Well, first of all, we need to know what command to give it to create that folder. Now, the second command, or maybe the third if you can't help, I'll show you, is mkdir, which is short for make directory, or it creates a directory. So in exactly the same as what we did earlier, where we did new folder, mkdir will basically make a folder. As I said before, folders and directories are kind of they're interchangeable. There are slight differences, but yeah. Anyway, carry on. So there you go, mkdir. Let's call it command prompt. Oops, there you go. And as you can see in this window here, there it is. Obviously, there's nothing in it yet. If you type dir here, there it is. Now, what happens is how do we do what we just did here, which was actually go into the folder to see what's in it in the command prompt. Now, the next command I can show you is the one that does that. It's just two letters cd. Oops. See, I'm mixing my Linux and Windows there. Help cd. So cd specifies that you want to change to the parent directory. Let's try that again, because the wrapping doesn't seem to be working very well. Okay, so that displays the name of or changes the current directory. Depending on what options you give it, if you don't give it any options, it just displays the name of the current directory. So let's try that, cd. There you go, and we knew that all along because that's in our prompt. Right, now, so in the other way, it changes the directory. Remember that we just created this directory here called command prompt. So let's try and cd into that as we did here in the File Explorer. And there you go. dir. Now these two directories are special. I'll get to them later. but as you can see, there's nothing in here currently. Right. So yeah, let's try and create a file now. How are we going to do that in the command prompt? Well, there are various ways of doing it. The way I'll show you doesn't involve an editor as it did in the Explorer. What we'll do is I'll show you a new command, which is the echo command. All echo does is it displays messages, or it turns command echoing on or off. So we're going to use the display functionality of echo. So echo is just basically whatever text you give it, it will display it like that. But we'll use another feature, mechanism, a little bit like the pipe command I showed you earlier, called redirection. And what we can do is we can redirect the output of commands to files. So for example, if we want to do this again like that, but instead of it displaying on the screen, what we want to do is we want to redirect it into a file, which is what this character is for. It's a greater than character. And we just basically give it a file name. So let's call it new file. See what happens. Okay, there you go. So dir will show us that we've got a new file now with 15 bytes, which doesn't match up actually to what the size. If you remember what the size was earlier in the Explorer window, this file is 15 bytes. Was the old one was only 12. Now, again, this is a little difference between doing things in the command line, using commands to do things, only using the Explorer and Notepad, for example. But we'll not get into that just yet. So there you go, there's a new file. Now, what we did earlier with the Explorer, we deleted the file. So next new command that I can show you here is delete. Deletes one or more files. So let's delete it. Down new file. And as you can see in the Explorer window, it's gone. Let's type dir here just to make sure that it's gone, disappeared. And something else we did using the Explorer earlier was removed the actual folder command prompt. Sorry, it was code in, it's here. Delete it like that. Now, we want to do that in the command prompt window. But first of all, what we need to do is get back into C users Chris. Now, there's two ways of doing that. You could either cd and then type the whole thing like this, which takes us there, or if we were back in here, one of the uses of these special directories here is the double dot. Now what that does, it means go back one link. So if we do cd double dot, that takes us back one link to C users Chris from command prompt. As you can see, we're here now. So the next command, as I said, is delete. So let's delete it. Are you sure? Yes, please. There you go. Oh, it's still there. That's strange. I wonder why that is. It's because it's a directory. There's another command that you have to use for removing folders, directories, which is remove dir, rmdir. So let's use that instead. Has it gone? Oh, it's gone. Okay, great. So there you go. Just a little introduction there to files, folders, command prompts, navigating around and creating some text files. In the next episode, what we'll do, we'll move on to creating some scripts, which is kind of the beginning of coding. Really, scripts are lists of commands explaining to the machine what you want it to do. Anyway, so yeah, I hope that you found that helpful, useful, interesting, whatever, and see you in a bit.